women as leaders who are able to balance between care and compassion effectively are proving to be very, very good leaders.
A leader who is a female and a male, do you see any difference in these kind of myths, that there is a theme in male leaders and female leaders?
No, I don't like to create bifurcations based on
Hmm.
nationalities and
Right.
cultures and genders and all of that, age and so on. But having said that, of course, each and every one of these factions have their own pros and cons, strengths and
Mhm.
weaknesses.
Mhm. When I say, okay, who was the best leaders and all those things, so people say Mahatma Gandhi and all those things, and one of the kid would still say Hitler, and everybody like, it's like, no,
Yes.
Hitler was a leader.
Yeah.
Even Voldemort is also leader, right? In Harry Potter, it's just that what they did with that leadership is a totally different, topic altogether. But that at the
Yes.
end of the day, its leadership is totally different thing. How you connect with your following or followers, it also makes difference in all those things. So yeah, as you rightly said, it makes a lot of difference to be vulnerable. Hey Marut, good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Ankit.
So how's Tuesday treating you?
Good. It's a nice, bright, sunny day today.
Oh,
Happy.
really? Okay. After a long, very long time, I think it's the entire year in this entire year. So I'm in Bangalore. So in this entire year, it was raining.
Mm.
Only today, I think, I don't know after how many months I'm seeing sunshine.
Yeah, I think it's about you and me talking today. The sunshine.
Could be, could be. All right. So leadership unmasked. So what gave you, like, what was your thought process behind it in terms of, yes, I want to write something like that. This is something that is missing in the market today or in a literature world, maybe. Uh, what was your thought process behind that?
So I spent the last decade working with an organization called Potential Project International, based out of the
Mm.
US and Denmark. And my work required me to facilitate and support leaders in the space of human leadership. The work ranged from helping them gain the performance mindset, more focus, more prioritization, helping them with balancing care and compassion, helping them to establish more trust and psychological safety in the organization, more optimistic and wise at the same time. So that's the kind of work I was doing with organizations like Accenture, BCG, Unilever, Microsoft, and so on. And so that was an opportunity for me to get very close to the leaders and understand not just what they were socially projecting within or outside the organization, but also what was their inner felt state at any given point of time. And my realization was that there is a whole lot of anxiety, tension, doubt, uncertainty that they were carrying within themselves, and they did not feel it was the right platform to talk about it with their leadership or with their teams, or even with their family. So they were struggling with managing all of those things within themselves. So the
Right.
intent of this book was to be a sort of a mirror and help the leaders to reflect on how
Yeah.
they are leading and what it is doing to them and their teams.
Exactly. I mean, I really concur with something you said, that, having lots of anxiety. People see if it's a CEO, CTO, or anybody, they think they're fearless. No,
Yeah.
no. They have, I think they fear the most is just that the way they channelize and the way they show it, uh,
Mhm.
it that truly makes them a leader, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
if you're not scared inside, I think that then there's a problem,
Something is wrong.
right?
Yes, absolutely,
Right,
absolutely. Yeah.
right. Um, so yeah, I mean, I couldn't help but notice of, your book begins with the bold claim that what if everything you thought about leadership was wrong? Now that's a huge hook. Okay. Now, what's the biggest myth you see even experienced leaders stubbornly clinging to? Is there anything
Hmm.
that you've noticed in your, uh, this long career?
First of all, I like the fact that you call it a hook because it is. uh, and and any book worth its salt needs to market itself effectively. No
Right.
point writing something which is not read by enough people. So it is true that it is a sort of a hook, and everything that we know about leadership may not really be incorrect or wrong. But the fact remains that we need to question, is it still relevant? Right? So many leaders. So the key myth that I have tried to bust through this book is that many leaders think that they must have all the answers, as you correctly just pointed out. Being these know-all, fearless, absolutely out there, able to tackle all kind of challenges and crisis and turbulence and so on. But the truth is that they are just as human as any of their team members. They have pockets of unknown. They have the complexities to deal with. They have the blind spots that they know nothing about. The world has become really complex over time, and great leaders need to be not answer givers but question askers, because there is no precedence to a lot of the challenges that the leaders are facing today. The geopolitical scenario has become extremely tense. As we all know, it has become difficult to navigate. AI is on its way. There is a whole lot yet not understood or completely um, defined for the leaders in terms of what would AI take up, what would their position be versus AI after a while, to what extent will it impact the goals, the success factor of any organization. So, saying that leaders must have all the answers in itself is an incorrect expectation, and an expectation that the leaders really struggle under because they want to project the right image, and therefore they struggle with the authenticity for themselves.
Right.
So honestly, if a leader tells me that they have all the answers, I would say either they are bluffing or they're completely right.
True, true, true. I mean, in fact, like it's very interesting said that. So I also write books on leadership, and then, but I write on an. You have read it. I write in a novel format. Uh,
Mm,
I have written a lot of these things where a leader is going to take a call, and then they are thinking a lot of things inside. Somebody
mm,
told me like, okay, why are you writing this? You are supposed to portray him as a leader. Why is have lots of inner thoughts of uncertainty? I said, like,
mm.
okay, this is something that clearly shows that you are either not ready or that you have not understood the meaning of leadership at all, right?
Yeah.
And what you said is really, really true that people expect that you to have all the answers, but that's not true. Uh,
Mm,
Now, one thing which I always remember is I do not. It was, I think, from some movie that I said I do not probably do not know the answer of it, but I know that I will find the answer for this,
mm.
and that's a good quality of a leader, right?
One said yes.
Awesome. All right. So you also talk about vulnerabilities and emotional intelligence as a leadership superpowers, right?
Yeah.
But let's say in high stake environments, say boardroom or crisis situation, leaders probably still hesitate, right? Why is showing vulnerability so difficult, even when data proves it works?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that Brené Brown and Daniel Goleman have said about
Mhm.
vulnerability, about emotional intelligence, and so we have learned a lot over the last 5 6 years about the subject. And you're right, while theoretically we understand it to be meaningful, when it
Right.
comes to actual application, the expectation of everyone around is for confidence, charisma, and invincibility to show up, especially in both women crisis scenarios. And you are also right when you say that vulnerability is perceived as some sort of a weakness. But the reality is that vulnerability is a trust multiplier. When a leader is honest and authentic about what they know and what they can surmount as a challenge versus what is an unknown territory and will have to be explored from the point zero, uh, that that is the kind of authenticity or reality check that helps everyone in the room, let it be a boardroom or a meeting or a team get together. It helps everyone to connect with their own honesty and reality. So that's how you help create more trust in the team, firstly. Secondly, when you express vulnerability as a leader, you are opening up the space for multiple perspectives. Instead of believing your own perspective to be the final word or the only way to move forward, you are actually opening up the space, allowing your team members or your board members or your advisors to actually come up with multiple different ways of tackling the same challenges. Satya Nadella has often said that his best day is when he faces dissent, because that's when he learns a couple of new things. Otherwise, everyone is just agreeing to what he has to say. And also, neuroscience shows that people connect with more warmth than with perfection, right? So, the vulnerable leader is the one that everybody connects effectively with. And honestly, if you think hiding your humanity makes you more powerful, try leading a crisis with a poker face and see whether your team is able to trust you or not. You have to involve people. And while the heroism or the invincibility was the core of it, but think of the huge leaders like Hitler, whatever the good or bad of them, or any other big leader in today's time as well. Unless they are able to touch the emotional chord, they
Right.
are not able to really create that vision in an expansive format.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, so I also teach in colleges, and when I say, okay, who was the best leaders and all those things, so people say Mahatma Gandhi and all those things, and one of the kid would still say Hitler, and everybody like, I said, no,
Yes.
Hitler was a leader.
Yeah.
Even Voldemort is also leader, right? In Harry Potter, it's just that what they did with that leadership is a totally different,
Mm.
topic altogether. But that at the
Yes.
end of the day, it's leadership is totally different thing. How you connect with your following or followers, it also makes difference in all those things. So yeah, as you rightly said, it makes a lot of difference to be vulnerable. Awesome. All right. Do you see any difference between uh, a, a leader who is a female and a male? Do you see any difference in these kind of myths, that there is a theme in male leaders and female leaders?
No, I don't like to create bifurcations based on
Mm.
nationalities and
Right.
cultures and genders and all of that, age and so on. But having said that, of course, each and every one of these factions have their own pros and cons, strengths and
Hmm.
weaknesses.
Hmm. Hmm.
Men have led for years, generations, and society has always promoted a culture where the man was leading and the woman was supporting in the family. Now that's the core on which the leadership principles were built, which is why the leader was always, the image that you saw was always that of a man, and you always saw this warrior on a white horse in the shining armor leading from front and so on. So that is what the leadership image has been for the longest of time. And then when more women started to work and also rise to the top positions in the organizations, the sense around leadership began to shift a little. And things like compassion, care, these were things that were not considered relevant to leadership for the longest of time. But now these things became more relevant. And I think what started to happen was the advent of what is called the both hand leadership. So you wanted performance, but you wanted to be giving care even as you got performance from people. You wanted people to work with courage, but at the same time have the vulnerability to express their reality. So this both hand leadership is what has emerged. And because women have been in the role of nurturers for the longest of time, they are inherently more compassionate than men are, because that's what their role as mothers or nurturers has been. And therefore, in today's time, with the expectations of the Gen Zs and the millennials being very, very different from what they were earlier, women as leaders who are able to balance between care and compassion effectively are proving to be very, very good leaders. I would still not use to try to use the term better, because I
Hmm.
think eventually it is about the individuals and their
True.
intentions. But
Absolutely.
truly, women have come up to be great leaders because of their inherent compassion.
Yeah, I absolutely agree to that. Right. All right. So you have coached leaders across, spectrum of different companies like Unilever, Microsoft, Cisco, right? So in your experience, which leadership myth is the hardest for global executives to unlearn rather, and how do you help them break free from it?
I love the fact that you're using the term unlearn, because we really need to make that shift on the spectrum, you
Yes.
know. And one of the key myths that I feel globally relevant and very hard to step out of because of the unscripted expectations that the leaders think everybody has from them is that control equals performance. And we have a plethora of these authoritarian leaders who justify their behavior or their choices based on the fact that they are completely aligned with the goals of the organization. They are passionate about getting the results that the organization needs to achieve, and therefore they will rally the people to perform to their very, very best at any given moment. The problem is this is not sustainable. And when these senior executives who've grown up in the command and control cultures themselves start to execute through micromanagement and through a deep sense of control, it is at the cost of trust and transparency most of the time, right? And a very clear example to understand this concept is our own children. Try micromanaging the teenagers today. They will never respond to you. And on the other hand, if they feel supported, seen, valued, and understood, they will be happily going beyond the call of duty to do what you expect them to do. So I think the hardest myth for executives to understand globally is that control does not equal performance. Unless the control is balanced with an equal measure of care, it is very unlikely that you will be able to get sustained performance. Now, this is another concept. You can get peak performance from people today, but they will start to get anxious, they will start to burn out. This will not be sustainable over a longer period of time, and they will start falling from the plateau after a while. And then you will hit a crisis scenario, and then you will take those desperate measures to try and control the whole scenario again. And this is not helping the organization from a long term perspective at all.
I truly agree to that, and that brings me to next question because, and this is something which you would have seen across, companies. I would say about the hustle culture, right?
Mm.
So hustle
Mm.
culture seems almost celebrated, especially in India, right? Now, do you think this is a unique to India, the kind of problem, or a global one playing out a different across cultures?
Yeah, hustle culture has been celebrated. This overwork and back to back meetings and all of this has been
Yes.
celebrated and carried like a badge by every. Oh, I am so super
Yes.
busy. I don't have a moment to spare and all that. You're right. This is very, very prevalent in India and also in ways celebrated. But the truth is, this is not really India centric. We just market it
Hmm.
differently. We call it different names. We call
Hmm.
it hustle, they call it grind. We say that we are overworked and they say we are always on. So
Hmm.
it is just a different expression that we
Wow.
have for this. But the truth is that this culture is existing, and I think why it gets celebrated more in India is because we have a culture of sacrifice, and this kind of long hours at the cost of your own health, at the cost of your own time, at the cost of your family is considered a kind of a sacrifice that you are making because you're so passionate about the work that you're doing. So it is this kind of a sentiment which is fueling the hustle culture in India. But the truth is that as I said before, this is not a long term strategy at all. In the short term, it may improve the results, but over a long period of time, you will find people, and you see the youngsters today. I don't know if you remember the Ernst and Young news about this young 26-year-old girl who just collapsed and died. And more of such has happened over a period of time. The number of deaths happening at the laptop or the computer in the age group of, let's say, 25 to 45 has become a larger number than ever before. And the reason is the extreme scenarios in which everyone is working and feeling very proud to work like that. Unless take performance breaks, unless you allow yourself to come into the rest and digest mode, unless you are connecting with the nature enough number of hours in a week, unless you are taking the pauses to become more conscious, it is all a short term strategy. And this kind of hustle will not lead to anything good over a long period of time.
Very rightly said. I mean, I just want to understand now how leadership unmasked can help in these kind of scenarios. How can it help those leaders who are actually seeing this, in right in front of them? This is happening. So how this book can help them?
So the book has been designed to, first of all, tackle each myth, and there are 30 myths that I have tried to tackle. As a matter of fact, I started with 100 and then shortlisted down to 30 because I thought 100 would be really, really overwhelming.
Mhm.
So the idea was to, first of all, cause deep reflection. And when you start to read about this being a myth, and really, this is how I have been leading, this is how my approach has been as a leader. So it gives you sometimes that aha moment where you realize, oh, I thought I need to do this, or I need to project myself like, or I will be perceived as weak if I do that. But that's not really true. It is apparently a myth. And then to support and understand the concept, I have given data and neuroscience, so that it helps the reader to understand that we are not just talking fluff stuff, but this is really backed by hardcore data. And finally, I have tried to incorporate a lot of examples of leaders, big well-known names, that have incorporated these changes in their leadership style already. So here is an inspiration for you to look at. And finally, the book gives 4 to 5 key takeaways after every chapter for every myth. So you have some clear possibility of following a different way of leading. I have consciously stayed away from long Gyan sessions, and that's something I have admired in your books as well, because you also stayed with wit and sarcasm and storytelling rather than Gyan giving, because these days nobody has the patience to read those long essays and etc. So I did not want to get into. I'm talking to the leaders who have a certain level of intelligence and merit because of which they are where they are. So I felt that pointing them in the right direction and making them reflect more deeply was a better strategy than trying to give them a lot of gyan. So that's what the book does. It points you in the right direction, makes you think about what you're doing and is it really making sense, or can I do it differently and yet be more impactful? And then leaves them to figure out more about the subject.
Absolutely, and I really like the fact that I think every myth has a famous leaders example,
Hmm.
just to reinforce that what this works,
Yeah.
right? And that's really important for at least for a, let's say, new author or somebody who people might not know. If they want to pick up the book, they want to know whether this is really what the author is saying is true or not. So yeah, that really, I also like that fact that it has that kind of an element. It helps you connect lots of dots also for yourself. So I really
Exactly.
like that. Right.
Thank you.
So in the book also you explored something called, you termed it as loveless workspaces, right? And that's
Mhm.
kind of provocative phrase. So what does it mean in practice, and how can leaders start bringing love or at least genuine care? Right. We
Yeah.
just slightly touched upon that topic like 5 minutes back, but let's dive deep into that. Um, Also without seeing it seeing being seen as soft,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, that's an important
That's a
distinction indeed.
critical balance between that.
Yeah, and the choice of the word love is kind of deliberate,
Right.
because I personally
I'm so
choice of
sorry.
the
I don't
word.
know. I'm on mute, but then somebody's really trying to reach me, and then Android allows, like, if somebody calls you 3 4 5 times,
Oh,
they just
want to
I'll
take a
just
break and take the call?
no, I'll just turn this off. Sorry about that. Please go ahead.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so the choice of the word love is deliberate, Ankit.
Mhm.
I'm quite passionate about this subject. The word love is explored more in the sense of romance or amorous love, as they call it. But fundamentally the concept of love, and I say this more because I have been exposed to the Buddhist approach to life, and also even in the Hindu culture, the compassion that you show towards people, the connects that you forge, the micro moments of connection repeatedly within a team or within team members is what will give rise to love between them. And that is, I think, the biggest glue that will keep the team together and make them successful, because people do not support each other or stand up for each other fundamentally just because they are a part of a team. They do so because they care for each other. I'll give you an example. One time I had a small team. I was running my own organization at that time, and I had a small team of around 20 people. And I just wanted them to take a break from all the running around and doing the work, etc. So I said, okay, let's just have some light moments and have fun, and then we'll get back to work. And I just asked them a simple question, just let's share with each other one very, very happy moment of our life. Something that really made me so happy that even today, when I think back, it's the happiest moment that I can think of. So it was a simple question. The idea was to make everybody come into that happy space and connect with each other. So one by one, and I asked them to meditate and close their eyes and think about that one happy moment, and then open your eyes, and whoever feels inclined to, let's share. Interestingly, everybody wanted to share. And within the next 5 to 6 minutes, I had the whole room crying, because when they thought about their happiest moment, the immediate next thought was how they were missing those happy moments presently in their life. And that led to the associated nostalgia as well. And the kind of bond that got created in the team as they shared and connected with each other and their grief and trauma and happiness was a different level of bonding compared to ever before. So that's what I mean when I use the word love here. And in the organization, it is important to treat people not as resources but as human beings, because we cannot separate human beings from the emotions that they bring along with the concept that because they have entered into the office or the working arena, they do not have emotions, or they should not allow the emotions to uh, surface in any way, in itself is a huge dichotomy and not acceptable at all. So love in practice, especially from a workplace perspective, is basically respect, recognition, and compassion. The more people connect with each other, the more they gain respect for each other. They are willing to support, they are willing to be kind and compassionate to each other, stand up for each other. And that is the environment in which the best work happens. It is not about the festival, celebrating Diwalis and Onams together at work and eating together. That's all a great part of it. But at the core level, to build those feelings amongst people is what love is all about.
Perfect, perfect. Definitely, somebody, not somebody, everybody should implement something, at least some extent of this at the workplace. I truly agree to that. All right, so I have one last question. So, for someone picking up your book, what's one myth? I know there are 30, and I'm pretty sure the sequel is coming where because you have 70 more lined up. So, what's one myth they'll never see the same way again?
I think the biggest myth that I've tried to tackle is that charisma doesn't make a great leader. It's wonderful to see a leader that has a lot of confidence, is a great orator, comes across very, very well. It does not in any way mean that this person will be a good leader. And we typically tend to choose this over an introvert or a quieter or a softer leader, because the and I and you know the it's really strange how our mind tends to think. For 10 years I was working, close to 10 years I was working for this organization where it was my job to work with leaders in large organizations, help them understand concepts, as I said before, like compassion and being kind to each other, taking care of each other. But I was sometimes told that your energy is too compassionate, you are not dynamic enough, you don't come across like a consultant from one of the big fours or something. And I always ask them, you want to bring compassion but you don't want the facilitator to be compassionate. is a very strange way of looking at bringing human leadership. So, yeah, so the truth is that if there isn't enough authenticity behind the charisma, it's great to be charismatic, nothing wrong with that. But unless there is the right intention and authenticity, it becomes manipulation, right?
Right.
And charisma can get you followers for the present moment, but it will not help you to keep trust for a long time.
Absolutely.
So that will help.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I had a wonderful time speaking to you, and I am pretty sure Leadership Unmasked is going to be really, really good book. I hope it becomes a bestseller. If it's not already, it's a great book. Everybody out there, please go read. Marut has, uh, you have poured your heart and soul in it. At least this is the least I can say about that book. I have read it. I have liked it, and thanks for having this discussion today, Marut. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Ankit. And absolutely, this is a mutual admiration scenario because I love your books as well. So
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much for these questions. They help me to unravel my thought process behind the book. So thank you for that.
Right. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.